Isaac Hernandez.
I'm Holly McClure.
And this is Faith on Film, a program designed to keep you aware and informed on everything that's happening in the world of faith and family entertainment. Holly, how are you today?
Doing great. I'm doing great. And I'm excited that today we get to actually promote a faith-based family film, which is wonderful.
Yes, because we've kind of been a couple of times now talking about how terrible a lot of the films that are coming out are, how dark they are. And in fact, next week, we're going to talk about one that is really, really dark. So I'm glad we're doing this one, because I did finish just seeing the movie, and I got to tell you, it's a very heartwarming film.
Well, I can't wait to talk about it. And who are we going to have to talk about it today, Isaac?
Well,
who's our guest?
We have someone who actually was a guest on the show, I don't know, maybe about a year and a half. No, I think probably about a year and a half ago or so for another movie that she was on. But this one is, to me, it sounds like a really huge film because it's on theaters across the whole country. So
people could go see it now.
They sure could. And if you're watching this show months or years from now, because again, we tape these shows and they go on streaming platforms, and they literally could be on there forever. In fact, if the rapture happened and you're still here, you might still be able to watch it. Well, let me introduce her here. Growing up on set with both parents in the production business, Gigi Orsillo naturally caught the acting bug early. Her first appearance on camera was at the ripe old age of 2.5. That's ripe and old, isn't it? Yep. The Christmas commercial for a local mall in her hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, became a beloved holiday tradition and continued to play for almost 20 years. Recently, God has provided Gigi with more opportunities to appear in TV projects and feature films, including her spy comedy Sleeper Agent, which released again, I think about a year and a half ago. And now she is one of the principal actors in a recently released feature film called Family Camp. Let me bring you on, Camp. Gigi. Family Camp. Gigi, how are you?
Family Camp. I like the name. I like that title.
Yeah, who doesn't want to go to camp?
Well, apparently there were some people who didn't want to in your movie, but we saw how that turned out. So.
True.
Look, I have to admit, I'm kind of one of those that just doesn't like to go into some of these Christian camps. But I think after seeing this movie, I think there might be a change of heart.
I don't know. I like air conditioning.
Yeah, I know. My wife does not like camping whatsoever. She likes hotels with air conditioning and a nice restaurant downstairs. Right. But anyway, I digress. Gigi, I know when you were on, again, a year and a half, for me, time just flies like this. And it might have been 10 years ago. I don't know. We went a little bit through your journey as to how you got, started in filmmaking. But we've got a lot of new people now watching the show. And maybe you can just kind of give us a brief synopsis, if you will, of how you even got. I noticed that it says that you started when you were 2.5 years old.
If you can even call that acting, right? I was just the kid whose parents were the director and the makeup artist, and so I was the one that they could have on set late at night. But I just, I started doing commercials and TV work, and I really loved it. And so I ended up studying film at Oral Roberts University and getting involved in more and more productions, spent some time in LA doing some work. And I just kind of really felt like, okay, I'm gonna lay this down whenever it was time to have babies. And so I took about a 10-year hiatus, just raising kids and being mama. And about 3.5 years ago, I got a call from a director who I had worked on a project with, and he said, "Hey, come audition." And I kind of said, "Well, I'm not really acting anymore." And he said, "God doesn't take away your talents just because you're a mom." And I was like, "That's true. Okay." And so it just kind of felt like the Lord's timing, and we felt peace about it. And that kind of started the role in Sleeper Agent, and then this new one, Family Camp.
Okay. Now, wait a minute. So you stopped doing it.
Yes.
Did you think that was then a permanent stop? Like, that's it? That's something in the past, and now the rest of my life is I'm going to be a mom and then eventually a grandma?
Right. I kind of just really felt the Lord say, lay it down, and just, I just opened my hands and said, "God, if this comes back to me, if you bring it back into my life," I mean, it's such a part of who I am, growing up on set and just kind of living that life. And so I said, if you bring it back to me, I would love that. But I know that if this isn't part of, the future of my journey, you're going to bring something else into my life that, is another passion, is something else that I can do to use my giftings. And so, I think I did kind of think, oh, it's mom or this other dream, and truly it's so fun right now to see that I can be both. And I can show my girls, I have 3 girls that are 10, 12, and 14, that you can be a mom and still, live in the passions and the callings that God has put on your life. I mean, I believe motherhood is the greatest calling in my life, but those other giftings that he gives us. So yeah.
Did your girls get to come on set with you, and did they have fun watching their mom act?
Yes, they try to come on set as much as I can. I like for them to at least come on and meet everybody. And then, when you're telling a story of so-and-so did this or, whatever, they can relate to who that person actually is, But they love being on set. And it was family camp was a great set because we shot in the middle of 2020 quarantine. And so people had been in their houses for, a few months by the time we shot. And so a lot of the producers, a lot of the lead actors, even, a lot of the actors brought their families to set. And so it really was like family camp at the hotel and on set, having all of the kids and all of the families and, the wives and the husbands and all of that on set. So it was a really very special experience.
I heard that you shot in Oklahoma. Was the whole film filmed in Oklahoma? Because I know they were very pandemic friendly as far as letting film crews come in and shoot.
Yes. We shot in Oklahoma, which is where I'm from. So I loved being there in Oklahoma. And there was a summer camp that, because of COVID, they didn't have any campers. They had a few day campers, but it wasn't running like a full-blown camp. And so God provided this amazing camp in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And it was great. And Oklahoma is a great place to shoot. They have great incentives, tax incentives. And that's where the Skit Guys are from. And so it was just, it all worked out. I mean, it was like one of the only states that was really open to filming. I mean, I think we were one of the only films that were shooting that summer. So.
Now, how did you get this role?
Jesus. Oh my goodness. Isaac, this role is one of those that just, it was something that I felt so strongly about. I remember I had the script the summer that I was shooting Sleeper Agent, and Leland Clausen saw it and he said, "Oh, the Skit Guys, I know those guys. Are you auditioning for that?" And I said, "Yeah, I just sent in a tape, And I auditioned multiple times because it would get pushed or, different people would come on. And so I auditioned for both of the lead actresses, even though I knew that the Grace character would probably be a big name star like Lee Allen. And she just did so great in that role. But yeah, it was really like a roller coaster of auditioning for this role. And I just had such a burden to pray for the guys and pray for the project. And so when COVID hit, I actually was getting ready to go to Oklahoma for a live callback. And they said, just hold off. I think, with everything that's happening, we can probably figure it out without you coming. And so I thought, oh, well, maybe that's good. Okay. And this is after, all these different things. And actually before that, I really felt God tell me that I was going to be on this project and that I needed to trust him after just kind of up and downs. And so I was so excited to get this call back, and then it got canceled because of COVID. And Beverly Holloway was the casting director on it, and she is just amazing. Yes. She did such a good job on this film. She does a great job on all of her films. And so I had my agent reach out, and they said, actually, they went another direction. And so I had to give it back to him again and say, okay, God, I'm really trusting you with this. And I thought that I heard you say that I was going to get this role. And then after COVID hit and some of the actresses and actors dropped out, they came back to me and said, we actually do want you. And so I had a few weeks to prepare and learn how to play guitar and learn how to speak Spanish and all these things that I didn't really do. And so it was so
You didn't
fun.
speak Spanish?
I speak Spanish in the film, just a little bit. And so
I was gonna ask you about that because I don't actually. I'm not sure what your nationality is. I think you're technically American Indian.
Right. Yes.
And I saw you speaking Spanish, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know she had a little Latina in her.
I got a little Latina. I fooled you.
Yeah.
I worked really hard because I said I want it to feel very authentic, and so I worked with a woman here who is a dialect coach and was really good. She's Latina, and then all of the hair and makeup trailer were all these amazing Latinas that would give me pointers, and Robert Amaya, and then Elias, who plays my son, his dad helped me. And so it was great to just kind of, at the end, everybody was like, we nailed it, because it was a team effort for everybody. So I just wanted to do it justice. And so, yeah.
I want to ask you about your character because, and there's the whole movie has got a lot of different storylines and characters and things that happen. But Victoria, I felt like a lot of her thing was about having a voice. Yes. And I didn't know if that was relating with a cultural thing that you were trying to bring out, or if it was just happened to be in the script thing, but about feeling like you never had a voice and that, he wouldn't listen to you. And boy, I thought, although there's a lot of lighthearted comedy things, there's a lot of funny things, there's a lot of kitschy things, but there's some serious moments in this story and film. And I thought, wow, there's going to be some women who are going to see that and really relate with that. They want their husbands to say, they hear them say, I have a voice. Yes. I really like that scene and that storyline that you had.
Thank you, Holly. Yes, I've already heard amazing stories of women who say, I am Victoria. Thank you for seeing me, for somebody who feels unseen to see themselves on the screen and them like having a voice. It gives them this kind of confidence to say, I want to do that. I want to do that. And then men even watching it, and even without the wife saying anything, going, I do that. I'm doing that. I want to do better. And both of the male roles to say, I don't want to put work above my family. I don't want to control my wife. I want her to have a voice. She is, beautifully and wonderfully made. And God gave her this voice and gave her to be my helpmate. And it's not just about me, right?
And the perfect Christian families. I like there was the perfect Christian side and the one that wasn't. But boy, is that a falsehood in churches today too, that people think just because you're in church, you're perfect Christian family. I like that as well.
Yeah. And I do think that there's just, with social media, it's hard to not feel like everybody else has this perfect family.
Well, Holly got to share one of her more poignant moments, so I'm going to do the same also. For me, one scene that I think really resonated with me was when the camp director told the wife, God knows every inch of this forest.
Yes.
He knows where they are. And she turns around, comes right to his face and says, well, when is he going to tell us?
Yeah.
And that just touched me because, a lot of us have found ourselves in that situation, some of us quite often actually, and we're waiting for some kind of answer. And we're like, well, okay, God, when are you going to let me know? When are you going to tell me? When are you going to show me the answer? And so that really touched me. And then as I continued to watch and I saw the beaver, rip apart the ropes, I realized, you know what? God has the answer is already there because we saw that beaver early on. So that means that God had already prepared
That's good,
their answer. It just wasn't available until they learned their lesson.
Yes.
So it ministered to me because
we want it in our timing. We want it in our timing the way we think it should be done.
I find myself there right now. I'm going, okay, God, I lost my job a year ago. I'm sitting here. I'm doing the show. I'm sitting here waiting. What is it that you want me to do next?
Yeah.
And I realized today, you know what? Just do what you're doing, and God already has it prepared. So don't worry about it. So there might be some other people right now watching out there, and they're wondering, well, God, when are you going to tell me?
Yeah.
He'll tell you when it's the right time. So that was my point.
I love that. Another one of my favorite lines in the movie is God doesn't make junk. And I know that there are so many, especially kids, that are dealing with self-worth.
Right.
To go, I'm not this and I'm not that, and that are just dealing with who they are in Christ.
Right.
And I had a friend reach out that said that line, pierced through the darkness of my soul and the lie of the enemy that was telling me I'm not enough. And so I love that line too.
And the story does, let's just say it's two families, and they go to camp, and they're forced to camp or room together and kind of join. One camp family is kind of super uber Christian, the other one kind of isn't, but they want to be. And then it's all these intricate storylines about the moms and the dads and the marriage relationship, but it's also with the son and the daughter. So there's something for teens, there's something for kids, there's something really for all ages. This isn't just a serious adult thing. It's family. It's for everyone, isn't it?
Yes. And I love that kids love this movie because they're laughing, right? And I have a feeling that they're going to watch it over and over again. And the fun thing is that they're laughing, right? And all the laughter is making them want to watch the movie. But truly, it's being knitted into the fibers of who they are. I want to be a husband that listens to my wife. I want to be a husband who puts down his phone and honors his family and the time that he has with his family. And so the storylines that adults are actually, taking away with it because we know what's happening. Some of these kids, even though they're just laughing, it's being rooted into their hearts, the character that they want to have when they're in the next stage of life. A teenager who knows, that she's worth more in a relationship, or a wife who knows her voice matters. So I think that's really cool because kids are watching trash on TV and it's being rooted inside of them. So why not have something that roots the character of who Christ is in them?
Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the trailer so the people kind of that haven't seen the movie, that don't know about the movie, can get a little idea of what the movie's about, which, by the way, so many truths, so many poignant moments in a comedy movie is kind of interesting. So let's take a quick look here.
Family camp is the highlight of our year. You ask our family, it's the greatest place on earth.
I'm sorry, I was late. Again. What do I gotta do to make it up to you?
How about we go to that camp?
Church camp? Hey, family! Welcome to camp.
For the Ackermans?
Don't seem to have an Ackerman here on the list.
You made the final payment online, right? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You guys, this is glamping.
What? No Wi-Fi. I can't wait until you realize there's no air conditioning. What?
Now, where's my yummy bride?
Oh, honey. Hi, hello, your family. Oh, I'm Grace.
Stop. Not another word.
Oh.
Here's my card.
Intergalactic chiropractic.
Oh. Buckle up, everybody.
The Camp Cataqua Trophy. You should see this baby on my mantle at home. The family takes home the most points at the end of the week, takes the cup from my cold, dead hands.
If you think we're gonna be friends with that guy, you need your head examined.
We're not monsters, okay? Even though we do make sugar-free, organic, vegan, non-dairy marshmallows.
Today, we are gonna do the buddy system.
Let's go, bucko.
Should have known better than to trust you.
You have no idea where we are. Come on. This is our story, to tell our wives how we braved the wilderness and fought our way back home.
Get that thing away from me!
My skin is on fire!
Oh, sounds like my kind of party.
We have a problem.
Our husbands are out there on their own, and we don't even know where they are.
I'm stuck here with Dr. Phil's demented twin brother when I should be back at the camp singing Kumbaya with my family.
It's okay, mi amigo. When God closes a door, he opens a Chick-fil-A.
Goes like this.
I thought my family would just magically become the family that I've always wanted them to be.
Things get a little more complicated when you get a peek behind the curtain.
That was fun.
That was something.
You're welcome.
All right.
Now I've always felt that comedy in Christian comedy is very difficult to pull off a Christian comedy is difficult because comedy just by nature you're making fun of people, you're kind of being irreverent. In this case, you were making fun of super Christians, but but I got to tell you, to be able to use comedy like this and really shine a light on both extremes, the extreme that is a super Christian, the extreme that doesn't want anything to do with this. I think you guys did an amazing job, and you really pulled it off.
Thank you. I think they did too. I mean, it's fun to sit in a theater and hear people really laugh, and just keep laughing. And so I think that they really pulled off The physical humor is just so fun.
Yes.
The little witty lines, and each character has their own kind of style of humor. And so
there's a lot of Christian cliches in there.
Yeah.
And some of them if you've been in it like I have all my life, you're like, okay, they're there. And they kind of hit all the points. The thing I thought was really funny was when she said, I'm going to pray about it. If you don't mind, I'm going to pray my own language. And the woman's like, are you going to like pray in tongues? And I thought, and honestly, I'm just telling you, I thought if they do this and make fun of tongues, this is going to run it for me. It's really going to run it for me. And she goes, no, I just in my Spanish language. I literally laughed out loud when you said that.
I know.
That's classic. That's classic.
Yeah. I'm like, I love the Holy Spirit, but that is a funny joke.
I thought that was a funny line. That was a funny joke. And I mean, I like, okay, that, because, so many movies make fun of that and they do it to make kind of, you can't do it and sound sincere. It sounds like you're making fun of it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, don't do that. Don't ruin it. But I was glad it didn't.
Good.
Not only was I laughing throughout the movie, but towards the end, I have to admit, I did tear up. I started to cry a little bit. Yes, I'm man enough to admit that that I can cry. It was just so nice to see the change in these two guys. Yeah. And then even more so when one forgave the other and they hugged. I mean, look at that. I'm getting emotional now. Yeah. So even though it was a funny movie.
I'll give a funny little tidbit that happened. When Tommy was giving his final speech about being forgiven, they replaced his on-screen family with his real family snuck in and sat in the chairs where he was on his eye line. And so he said all of that to his own family. And it was, wow. So all of that emotion that just spilled out of him, it was so, so beautiful.
Wow. Even thank you for selling that. That's especially for people that go watch it and watch that character, then they'll know that when he was saying that, wow.
Yeah. I mean, he probably could have done it because he's an amazing actor, but it was just a really sweet moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was it working with those guys?
The skit guys are just the most genuine, humble, kind people. And I told them, not only have you made this amazing, fun, fantastic quality movie, but, they've been doing this for so long and they have so many relationships in churches and, ministries. And they're the kind of guys that stay after a gig to talk to people, to hear people's stories. And they always say, we do the ABCs. We let people feel accepted. We want them to feel that they belong and we want them to feel that they are cared for. And that was truly what was on set. From craft service up to producers, everybody felt that way. And so that's what makes it a joy to work on the set, Oh, wow. And so, and they emphasized that to everybody, that this is how we want to treat people on set. And so I know that they've done that in their lives. And that's why so many people are like, heck yes, we are going to go out and support this film because we believe in these guys and we love these guys. And so, and I mean, they're just so funny and fun and they've been friends for like forever. And so it's fun to watch them together, even if they're not on set ad-libbing and they're just like eating dinner, they're funny together, because they're like a married couple.
Say who you're talking about. Say who you're talking about, these guys.
Tommy Woodard and Eddie James are the skit guys.
Okay, and that's the lead of the film.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know the guy's name, but he was in the movie Courageous, and he played the Spanish guy, this husband.
Robert Amaya.
Thank you. I love him. He does comedy so well. He does those little subtle lines. I love him.
He's so great. He has such a great heart. He has a great heart. Yeah, the Snake King.
The Snake King.
So, yeah.
That's right.
You know what,
right.
Holly, we're going to have the skit guys on. I have to find a way to get to them, but we're going to have them on the show. I think they would be a lot of fun to have also.
We've got to. I think it came across really well. And a lot of people probably are going to see that and don't even know that those guys are those guys. Like they don't know that about them. So I'm glad you shared that too, because it kind of gives a little bit more background and insight. Okay, I got to ask you really quickly. Out of all the whole movie, favorite scene. What was a favorite scene of yours that you did?
My favorite scene, gosh, there were so many. I loved the scene with Lee Allen Baker that we're sitting there and she's dripping wet and I'm just throwing up my emotions on her. That was a really special scene to do with her. And then the last scene where we are standing, I'm standing with Eddie James, my on-screen husband, and basically just telling him what I need. And we did that scene after an all-night shoot, and the sun was coming up, and we got about 1.5 takes. So it was really fun because we just did it, and there it was, and there it is on screen. And so that was fun because we just kind of were like, we're doing this. We got this. We're doing it. So probably both of those scenes.
Wow.
Good.
Now,
thanks.
Your last two full features here, this one and Sleeper Agent, are both comedies. Is this kind of where you're headed towards? Is just doing comedies because you're very good at it, or is there something different? Do you want to do one of those darker, suspenseful movies?
I do love comedy. I love the mix. I love to be able to pull emotion and have heart moments, but then also get to be comedic. And, I feel like I learned a lot on this set because I'm not a comedian, I'm not a comedian and I've worked with a bunch of comedians, right? And so you just trust whatever they say is funny. And am I funny? And so I would say a line, just kind of ad-libbing and almost under the radar say what instinctually comes out of me, but kind of let it slide. And Lee Allen Baker said, "What did you say? That's funny. Say it louder." And so just feeling that confidence of my own instincts are pretty funny, and to trust that. And if they need to say, well, let's cut that little ad-lib line or whatever, then they will. But to go ahead and add what I feel brings the role to life and to trust that as an actress. And so because God has put me there for that role, and so to trust whatever comes out, whatever he puts in me to come out. So that was something that I really enjoyed about being on Family Camp and being in this comedy. And that I've learned as I go into, the next comedy, trust whatever comes out of me.
Sure. Well, time has run out, but how can people know more about the movie, or how can they find out whether they can still see it in theaters or later on in streaming? Where do they go?
Yes, familycampmovie.com is the website. And if you go to familycampmovie.com/tickets, it'll show you where it is in your area. Or you can always go to Fandango. And then, eventually we'll be on streaming platforms and on DVD and all that. So.
And how can they get in touch with you, Gigi?
Yes, I am most active on Instagram. And it's Gigi Orsillo is my handle. So come find me. I'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being with us today. It was so much fun having you back and to share this.
Fun.
Yeah, to share this new movie. And folks, don't forget, if you want to write us, you can write us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And if you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film. Holly, thank you again for being with us and helping me make the best of this show.
It was fun.
It was. Folks, see you again next week.
Thanks, guys.